welcome to Kids in the Kitchen with Parks and Rec. I'm Penny. I'm the assistant manager at the Burt-Cobb Rec Center. Today I have my assistant, my daughter, Kacie. Today we are going to teach you how to make homemade butter. Really simple process. You're going to need 2 ingredients: heavy whipping cream and a sprinkle of salt and any kind of jar with a lid. So to get started, you're going to take your jar and a 1/4 cup of milk. Go ahead and pour yours. And then just a sprinkle of salt. Once you have the salt in there, you're gonna go ahead, make sure the lid's on there tight and shake. This process will take anywhere from 10 minutes to 20 minutes to get going. The cool thing about this is while your kids are doing this, it ends up becoming a science project because you're creating a chemical reaction. We're turning this liquid into a solid. Halfway through this, what will happen is you're going to turn this heavy whipping cream into whipped cream. So if instead of salt, we would have added sugar, we would have made whipped cream. So you keep shaking it. I'm gonna have Kacie keep doing that and show you what would have happened. So halfway through the process, you could see this is what the whipped cream would have looked like. And then we're just gonna keep shaking for a little bit more. For the sake of time, we have gone ahead and pre-made some. But this is a great project to get the kids involved. I do recommend, if you're gonna have younger chefs participating, have them go ahead and either sit on the floor, a nice grassy area, or use a plastic jar. Always make sure we wash hands, good health and safety, parent supervision, or involve older chefs as helpers. We got a lot of molecules bouncing around. We're gonna eventually turn this heavy whipping cream into butter. So, you see the process. I'm gonna set this here. The finished product is going to end up looking like this. Once we have our butter, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make no-bake cinnamon rolls. A really yummy, easy snack for the kids in the afternoon. Our first thing we need is to gather our supplies. We're gonna need cinnamon, granulated sugar, powdered sugar, bread, water, and a knife. We are going to take the cinnamon and sugar, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, 3 tablespoons of sugar, more or less, it's up to preference. Mix them together in a bowl. I went ahead and done that for us already to give us our mixture. And then you're gonna take 4 pieces of bread, and I like to lay them out just to make it easy to roll. If you don't have a rolling pin available, you can always use a can, a 2-liter bottle, whatever's available. The whole purpose of this segment is to use what you have available. We don't want you to go out and spend money. So you're gonna roll these as flat as you want. If you'd rather not have crust on the bread, that you can use a knife, a butter knife, a plastic knife to trim them off if you would like. I found that the process really doesn't affect it one way or the other, and it doesn't change the flavor, and the kids really don't mind it one way or the other. So once you have the bread flattened out like this, you are then going to take a butter knife and you are going to start buttering one side of the bread and really thinly. A 1/4 cup of the heavy whipping cream ends up yielding about a 1/4 cup of butter. With this, this is a recipe that you can alter to preference. You can use more butter, less butter, whatever you prefer. Once you have your bread buttered, you're going to then, Kacie, will you help me with this part? Once you have your bread buttered, you're just going to take your cinnamon sugar mixture and you're going to sprinkle the bread. You can do it as lightly or as heavy-handed as you want. I'm going to go ahead and start rolling these ones while Kacie continues with the cinnamon sugar to show you how that works. Then you're going to start at one end, roll tightly, pinching a little bit as you go. When you get to the end, I like to give it a little push to kind of seal the end and set it to the side, and then continue with the next piece of bread. 4 pieces of bread, this recipe will yield about 2 servings. So, if you want to go ahead and roll those. Once you get your 4 rolls done, then you're going to take a knife. I just have a plastic knife. You can use the same butter knife you use to spread the butter, and you're going to just cut them in little segments like that. And then we're going to set them cut side down. I like to put them together in a gather. So when we put the sugar glaze on them, I'll let you cut those. When we put the sugar glaze on them, it doesn't get everywhere. So the next step in this recipe is we are going to take some of our powdered sugar, about 1/4 cup, and we are going to mix that. This is the tricky step. You don't want the glaze too runny. So you typically do about 1/8 of a teaspoon of water at a time, and then mix. And then just slowly add the water. Now, if it does get too runny, you can always add more powdered sugar. As you can see, it's gonna start, the sugar is gonna start dissolving. And once we have, perfect timing, Kacie. So once we have our sugar glaze, you're just gonna take that spoon you used to mix and drizzle over our no-bake cinnamon rolls for our yummy no-bake easy snack. One for me, one for you. Bon appetit. Enjoy, everyone.